The military is often associated with discipline, structure, and physical grit. But when you spend enough time in the middle of nowhere or in high-stress training environments, you eventually run into things that simply don't make sense, things that are deeply unsettling. These two stories were told to me by my father, who served as an officer. He isn't the type of man to exaggerate, which makes these memories all the more disturbing. The first incident happened years ago while my dad was undergoing a specialized survival training exercise. The goal was simple: survive in the wilderness with limited gear. He and his partner had spent the entire day laboring over a primitive survival shelter, essentially a small enclosed hut made of branches, mud, and leaves. By the time they finished, it was pitch black outside. They were beyond exhausted, and they just wanted to sleep. They crawled into the cramped space, zipped up their gear, and drifted off. But at some point during the night, my dad woke up. He didn't know why. He just felt a strange, light, tingling sensation on his skin. He reached for his flashlight, clicked it on, and aimed the beam at the ceiling. His heart nearly stopped. The entire ceiling was alive. There weren't just a few bugs. There were hundreds, if not thousands, of daddy-long legs. They were thick as a carpet, a writhing, pulsating mass of legs and bodies right above his face. Panic set in immediately. He and his buddy scrambled out of the shelter, refusing to spend another second in that nest. They tried to sleep on the bare ground outside, but their peace was short-lived. Their survival instructor soon loomed out of the darkness. My dad always described this instructor as a man with a screw loose. He had a cold, vacant look in his eyes, the kind of man my dad suspected had actually killed someone before. This instructor got within an inch of my dad's face, screaming, demanding to know why they were outside the shelter. When they explained the situation with the spiders, the man didn't care. He didn't give a shit. With an air of quiet, terrifying authority, he forced them back inside that infested hut. They tried to zip their sleeping bags completely shut to keep the spiders out, but within 10 minutes the heat became unbearable. They had no choice but to unzip. They had to lay there, face up, in the total darkness. Every few minutes they would feel the sickening weight of a cluster of spiders losing their grip on the ceiling and dropping onto their faces. They spent the rest of the night feeling those spindly legs crawling over their eyes and lips, unable to move, just waiting for morning. Years later, my dad had risen through the ranks and was an officer in charge of a flight, a group of cadets. Most of the recruits were standard military types, but there was one kid who stood out for all the wrong reasons. From day one, he just wasn't right. He was quiet in a way that felt heavy. He was off. The training environment was intense, and it clearly started taking a toll on this kid's mental state. To prevent a total breakdown, the officers pulled him out of the main training area and put him in a separate, quiet room to sleep and decide if he wanted to continue. Protocol required an officer to check on him every single hour to ensure he was safe. Late that night, it was my dad's turn. He walked down the silent hallway, opened the door, and flipped the light switch. The room was small and sterile. The bed was empty. The cadet was nowhere to be seen. My dad felt a surge of adrenaline. A missing cadet is a serious security breach. He did a quick sweep of the small room, checking the corners and under the bed, and that's when the atmosphere changed. He got that unmistakable feeling of being watched, that prickling sensation on the back of your neck when someone is staring at you from the shadows. He slowly turned around, his eyes scanning the room one more time. In the corner stood a tall, metal wall locker. My dad looked at the thin, horizontal ventilation slits near the top of the locker door, and there, in the darkness behind the metal, was a single, unblinking eye. The cadet wasn't trying to escape. He had climbed into the locker, shut himself in the pitch black, and was just waiting. He didn't make a sound. He just stared through that slit, watching my dad search for him, waiting for the right moment to be found, or maybe waiting for something else.